f of x is 1 over the cube root of x squared plus x minus 1, plus 1, like so. Okay? And of course, we want to find f prime. So, we can write it as let's do the following. I'm using slightly different notation now. I don't know if you were exposed to this notation. Again, I'm going to say that f of x is the composition, is f composition G. Okay? And therefore, by the chain rule, f prime equals f prime, instead of dy du, if you use this notation, then the derivative of f in terms of g will be f prime of g. Have you seen this notation? And then we multiply it by the derivative of g, like so. This is another form of the chain rule. Okay? Instead of, let's see, instead of dy du or df du, since I have f composition g, it will be f prime, but not of x, but f prime of g, and then times g prime. And this is really cater more to this composition notation. Also, it will be useful in Calc 2 to be familiar with this notation of the chain rule. Okay, so I'm thinking ahead of next semester, and I'm showing you another form, another way to write it. Now, let's identify f, the function f and g. F as a function of g is simply 1 over the cube root of g, right? If we let the g to be the radicand. And the derivative, I can write it also as g to the power of negative 1/3. And therefore, f prime in terms of g, the derivative of f with respect to g will be negative 1/3 g to the negative 1/3 minus 1, or negative 1/4, negative g to the power of negative 4 over 3. Okay? Write it back in radical terms. It will be negative 1 over 3 cube root of g to the 4th. Okay. So this is a little bit more complex function than what you've seen before. G by itself, now time to go to g, is relatively simple. G by itself is x squared plus x plus 1, and therefore g prime of x is simply 2x plus 1. And now we have all the necessary component. We have this one. Let me frame it or box it, and then we have this one. So I need the product of the two quantities in the box. Okay? One is the derivative of what we call the outside function of the composition, and the second is the derivative of the inside function of the composition. So f prime of x, as written here, will be f prime of g times g prime of x. And now f prime of g is negative 1 over 3 cube root of g to the 4th, and g prime of x is 2x plus 1. And now time to bring it home. So we'll have negative, the numerator will be simply 2x plus 1. And what's left, I have 3 cube root of g, which is x squared plus x plus 1, all of it raised to the 4th power. Okay? Not an easy derivative, by all means. The question, can you do it with uv, with dy du times du dx? Absolutely. Will it generate a different result? Absolutely not. It will be exactly the same result.